I have a bit of a confession to make and a little bit of story time, and then I'm going to share a bunch of ways that you can bust through either burnout or the feeling of uncertainty or feeling like you're stuck in like resistance or procrastination. Hello, welcome. My name is Kaye Putnam. I'm the psychology-driven brand strategist. I am so thrilled that you are here. I help entrepreneurs change the world with what they know as a psychology-driven brand strategist. And story time. If I am being completely honest, the last several months, I think we're going on about 3 months now that I've been feeling this way, have been extraordinarily difficult for me. I am really blessed because there wasn't really anything outwardly that was going wrong in my life or in my business, but I was tired and feeling a lot of anxiety and feeling a lot of, what's the word, just off. Like I'm typically a very optimistic human. I'm typically a very positive person. I am very productive normally, and this just has not been the case for the last 3 months or so. So I'm still kind of in it, to be truly honest, but I do have ways that I've gotten out of a funk like this before in the past, and what I'm doing in this moment right now to step back into feeling more like myself, more like the Kaye that I know is capable of creating really amazing things and doing really great things in business. And let me just caveat this, that yes, I'm giving myself grace. Like, there has been so much uncertainty in the world. There has been a lot of certifiably bad things that have happened for a lot of people. And I think a lot of it is just that collective feeling of knowing that life's not perfect, and maybe it won't ever be as blissfully ignorant as it was in the past. Maybe we will get back to normal. Like, who knows? None of us know what the future is going to hold, but all of us, myself included, talking to myself here, all of us have the opportunity each and every day to start over again, to decide who we want to be in that moment, and to work towards a vision that we create for ourselves. So none of us are victims to our circumstance. Yes, we might be in our circumstance, but we all have the opportunity to react in the way that we want to react. So here goes my list of ideas of how to get through it if you're feeling something similar or of the same flavor that I've been going through in the last 3 months. So step number 1 is to not think that you are Superman or Superwoman. So I think the tipping point for me was I had a really intense launching season about three and a half months ago. And I think I scheduled like 3 or 4 back-to-back launches. I was getting out of one launch and I was going right into the next one, because I had some really big financial goals that I wanted to hit, and I did. It was amazing. I also knew that I was going to be taking a break once I got through that big push season. I knew that I was going to take a break over the holidays. I had already had it marked out on my calendar, and I thought that that was going to be enough. But frankly, it wasn't. And I'm realizing the lesson that I'm learning is that I need to rest before I reach the end of my rope. I need to build in rest periods much more often than my type A ambitious, driven personality would prefer. Because if I don't, and you hear the same thing about like physical health, right? Like, you need to take care of your physical health regularly. Otherwise, being sick is going to knock you off your feet for weeks or months. Your body will force you to take a break if you don't take care of it along the way. So I realized that with my own mental health, that I need to take more breaks more often. And maybe this is a reminder for you too, that maybe you need to do that as well. The second thing that is really helpful for me to bust through some of these muddy feelings is to zoom in really small on my to-do list, on my goals. So instead of thinking about the whole project, the whole goal, the whole big thing that I want to accomplish, I get really particular about what I can do today. And that's often not as much as maybe I wish that I could do in a day, or what's sustainable. I think that I can do like 20 videos in one day, but when I sit down to do it, it's much more sustainable to do just a couple and then come back tomorrow and do it again, and to keep my energy up, that kind of thing. But to just zoom really close in to that goal and just pick the one thing that you can do today to move yourself forward in some way. As a side note to this, I cannot tell you how much time I spent planning these videos that I'm recording in batch right now, how much time I spent like thinking and planning and outlining and all of the things. And even as I was just like doing my makeup and getting ready to like literally turn on the camera, I knew I was stalling. I knew I was stalling. And the first couple takes of the first video were painful, absolutely painful. Apologies to my video editor, because he's gonna have to like piece together my hot mess express that was last video. But already with now the second video that I'm recording in this batch, it feels so much easier because I just stopped the planning and I started the doing. And things start to happen once you actually get into the doing. And you feel so much more accomplished if you just get one good thing done in the day. So zoom in, pick that one thing, and skip all the prep work as much as possible and get into the actual doing of the thing. Third technique to get out of a funk is to take an axe to your to-do list. Figure out what you can delete, what you can reschedule, what you don't really have to do because it's just a should do or nice to do. Get it as small as possible. If you have a team or if you can bring on help in any area of your life, figure out what you can delegate and ask for help. We do not have to do all of the things that we think that we have to do all of the time. Our productivity and our business and everything in life goes in cycles. So if you're in one of those valleys, figure out how you can redesign your to-do list so that you just have less to do. That saved me on many, many days. Number 4, and this maybe is, maybe this advice is too little too late, but I will acknowledge that when you do get back into getting stuff done, being productive, building things, one of the best things that I did before I experienced this lull that I have been experiencing is that I built systems in my business. So I am so grateful to report or to share that my revenue hasn't dropped from like the average. So my big months are like 50 or 60K range, but I've only gone back down to like my average of 30K months, even though I haven't been my best over the last good chunk of time. And only reason is because I've implemented systems in my brand to keep it growing, to keep it moving, even when I'm not at my best. I designed these systems when I was getting ready to go on maternity leave the first time because I knew that I wasn't going to be available at full capacity once I had that baby 5 years ago already. So these systems are serving me really, really well. So when you do have the energy to put some work into your business, to tackle some of these goals, focus on the things that are going to have a long-term momentum building impact in your business, because it will serve you the next time that you need to take a little rest. And then my final piece of advice is, if you have been in that kind of like spiral, downward spiral for a while, one of the best things that I've done is I've looked at my current state, my current habits, my current situation, and I intentionally did the opposite. So I noticed that I was spending a lot of time in my head, like kind of dealing with anxiety, feeling like thinking through what ifs, thinking through different situations, but I wasn't spending a lot of time just in my body, like walking, breathing, those types of things. So I committed to doing the opposite, even though I didn't feel like it for a specific period of time, and already I'm feeling so much better. So if you're stuck in your head, think about how can I get more into my body to disrupt that pattern. Similarly, I noticed that I was spending a lot of time doing things that only required an incredibly short attention span. So things like scrolling on my phone, watching videos on YouTube, doing things that felt good, like they tickled the dopamine centers in my brain. But I noticed that I was having trouble paying attention to anything for a longer period of time, and I needed to shake that pattern up. So I started, again, even if you don't feel like it, recognize that that's happening and figure out what the opposite thing is. For me, that meant getting back into my hypnosis and meditation routine. So I've been doing that for this past week. And again, my brain is settling down and I'm feeling so much better. Last example for this is as a protective measure or as just a product of how I was feeling, I retreated from all of the groups that I'm in as an entrepreneur. So I'm in a few different like mastermind types of groups, and I just stopped going to the calls and I stopped participating. I stopped receiving that support. And the way that I disrupted that pattern was just making sure that I went to the next call. And I'll tell you, I cried tears of relief just seeing those humans' faces and sinking back into that knowledge of I'm so supported. I can do things, like I can show up even when I'm not at my best, and I can do that. It's helped so much. So hopefully these help you shake off whatever funk that you're feeling and helps you get back to being the sparkly, productive, amazing human that you are. If you found any of this helpful, if you enjoyed this a little bit more personal share, I invite you, please hit that subscribe button, press the thumbs up. All of that helps the YouTube algorithm, helps more people find these videos, helps me as a content creator incredibly much. So thank you in advance, and I'll see you guys next time.